So recently we just got a big update from the Fed, and this actually happened earlier today, that the Fed is going to skip rate cuts. Now, just as I did predict in my video from yesterday, I do think that we are going to get the rate cut decision next month. I think it's June 17th. And in a perfect world where everything is aligning, the way that I would, look to see how this market really kind of reacts to the rate cut, I do think that we go much higher. Now, again, in that perfect world, we also see, more trade deals announced between the US and additional countries. On top of that, we also see stocks, soaring to new all-time highs. And also liquidity will start to increase drastically because the M2 supply expanding, which supports higher price action across the board for crypto. Now, also we look at altcoins because we suspect that Bitcoin dominance will top towards the end of June into the beginning of July. And there we have our alt season and our bull run leading to a potential top towards the end of the year. That's in a perfect world. We don't know how this is going to work out. We take it one day at a time. But overall, we really look at what the Fed is going to do in June because that's a big one. But right now, the overall market is swimming in green, which is very good to see. We could actually see that a lot of altcoins are up significantly today. And even in the last 1 hour, for an example, let me just refresh real quick. In the last 1 hour, things are up in a very big way. It's a sea of green out there. Now, this is because Bitcoin just recently surged to 97.8K. It did hit about 98K, and everyone was getting a little bit excited. Now, again, I am recording this a little bit earlier, or we might see higher price action by the time that this does go live because I'm about like an hour or two out. But if we actually look at what's going on right now in this space, number one, whales are buying. We know that whales are buying. Whales have been buying XRP. They've been buying Bitcoin. They've been buying specific altcoins as well. I've been noticing the the whale activity on a lot of altcoin wallets as well. So, there's clear buying happening out there in accumulation during this entire time where we're just kind of chopping sideways. For an example, the past 1 year, this is all similar price action to the March timeframe. And I've shared with you guys my thought process on this because even if we go back, to like the March timeframe, look at this price action here of us just selling off, and then look at the price action over here. It's no different at all. And I do suspect that we are going to wake up in a much larger way here. But the question here is it going to happen this month? Right now, if we're really kind of looking at most of the altcoin market, it's starting to wake up slightly. We're starting to see the altcoin season index moving towards the altcoin season side, which is very good to see. But the issue here is that there's still a lot of altcoins that are stuck at, the same price that they were the last couple days. For an example, this is what XRP's chart looks like. Nothing too significant at all. And the reason why we're seeing price action like this on a lot of altcoin charts, we could say HBAR, XLM. There's so many altcoins that are kind of stuck in this, sideways price action. That's technically also, it's almost like a downtrend as well. We're just kind of chopping like this. The reason why this is happening is because of the altcoin market. Like, for an example, if we actually go back over here, the, overall crypto market cap is about 3.02 trillion right now. We're seeing some nice volume. There's moves happening in this market right now. That's very good to see. But a lot of the altcoins that we are looking at, or most of the altcoin market, I should say, is still down significantly. Like, even if we look at the CF Green, if we go and look at how the market has been performing, let's actually go back to the daily real quick. So in the last day, the top 100 is only up about 0.55%. This is why I say, like, even though we're looking at some like nice moves here, like 10.5%, 14.6%, or 8.3%. The top 100 is only up 0.55%. The top 200 is up only 1.3%. So just for reference, we're not actually seeing a lot of movement. It's kind of fake around altcoins and even around Bitcoin because Bitcoin's still stuck at significant lows until we reclaim, the higher highs on this chart. Now, one thing that I will say when it comes to XRP is that XRP is no different than any other altcoin in this market. If you are complaining that XRP is not moving and it's actually selling off, guess what? 9 times out of 10, so is every other altcoin in this market because we are following the altcoin market right now. This is the total three. This is the altcoin market outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. And guess what? Do you see any bullish price action right now on this chart? No. In fact, we're still under this $800 and almost $42 billion level, which we were trading at, back in March and all the way through March. This is a resistance level, by the way. So we've been rejecting off of this and we're just kind of chopping now. And if this looks similar, that's because that's exactly what XRP is doing. XRP has been trying to break over the March highs. It's been trying to clear out a higher high on this chart, but it has failed to do so every single time that it's tried to break out. So we watch the altcoin market for confirmation of, a much larger expansion across the board. And that also means for XRP, it means for HBAR, it means for any altcoin. So we have a lot more work to do here. We need to clear this $842 billion level. We need to target this next key zone up here, which this is all resistance up here between like 892 to about like $952 billion. And then after that, we will start to see some very large moves across the board on a lot of these charts. Now, the big thing here, though, is Bitcoin, because even though, these charts are still kind of just boring, Bitcoin is starting to wake up here on the daily. We're starting to clear out some nice highs. And in fact, on the daily, we are creating higher high structure, which is very good to see. Now, we just tapped that first level, which was 98.5K roughly. We need to clear this. We need to get a daily candle close over this level. The last time that we actually had a daily close over this level was all the way back in the beginning of February. So we are starting to make some moves, which is very good, but we still need a lot more progress before we can confirm that Bitcoin is in a very bullish structure. The first step here is getting a daily candle close over 98.4K, 98.5K. Then we really look at the weekly. And right now, in terms of the weekly, I know it's going to look a little bit weird with some of these drawings because they're lower time frame drawings, but on the weekly, we're looking at, about 3 days, 20 some hours away from a weekly candle close. If we manage to close over 98.5K, it would be a very big close, and it would actually be a huge confirmation of a much larger expansion on Bitcoin, which could potentially take us to 102.7K, where we do look at, are we going to reject from this level once again, like we did back in January, or are we going to clear this and target much higher highs? And that's where we really kind of look back at December, and that's where we actually look to clear the wick at about 109K, taking us to 110 plus K. But we can't get too far ahead of ourselves here, because what's actually causing the market to move? Is it the Fed decision? Absolutely not. In fact, this is a bearish decision from the Fed. We should be cutting rates right now. So when we're thinking about this, is the market moving because of the Fed? Is it just because of whales buying? Like, what's the actual fact here? Well, the fact is the market is moving because of what Trump just confirmed. And that's this. Breaking. President Trump says a big news conference is happening tomorrow, aka today, at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to announce a major trade deal with a highly respected country. Now, a lot of people will say, all right, it's going to be China, or it's going to be this, it's going to be that. I suspect that this is actually going to be Canada. I'll talk about why here in a second, but we have here from Donald J. Trump over on Truth Social, big news conference tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. The Oval Office concerning a major trade deal with representatives of a big and highly respected country, the first of many. Now, I do suspect that we're going to see a lot more trade deals throughout the year, which are definitely catalyst. The big catalyst here would be China. Sorry, Canada being a big one as well, but not as significant. Like, everything right now, I would argue is kind of waiting on the China deal, because that's one of the biggest ones that's actually an anchor, if you will, for the traditional markets. So we really kind of look at that one becoming a reality towards, I would say, the end of quarter three, possibly even, the beginning of quarter four. But we probably have a little bit more time on that. And the reason why I say that is because of what we've been hearing. For an example, over here, we have breaking. President Trump says he is not willing to pull back on the 145% tariffs on China, followed by, of course, breaking. President Trump says China should reassess who asked for a trade policy meeting. It appears Trump is signaling that China came to the table first, while China is saying the opposite. So we don't know what's going to happen here, but in my opinion, the big announcement will probably be Canada. We know that recently Trump just met with Mark Carney. And you know, they even said here, this is actually from Mark Carney on X. He said, "Thank you to President Trump for inviting me to the White House. Our meeting today marks the beginning of a new relationship between Canada and the United States, based on respect, built on common interest, and to the transformational benefit of both our nations." So it would make sense for it to be Canada, especially after this announcement. And then just, 24 hours later, we get the announcement that, Trump is making a deal with a highly respected, player. So again, let's see what happens. But if it is Canada, what's going to be the impact? I don't necessarily think it's going to be a huge catalyst, but I do think that it could push us a little bit higher here. But the issue is that we are in this red zone. This is where we should be cautious. This is where we should, be patient as well. And just be prepared, right? Be prepared for anything on Bitcoin, because if we do take a leap down with how high Bitcoin dominance is, because it's still making higher highs, it's at 65.42%. Any significant push on Bitcoin to the downside would cause altcoins to get slaughtered because of how high dominance is. So just be cautious here. I've always stated many times over, have stablecoins on the sidelines here. I think that anyone that's waiting on a big buy opportunity, just kind of wait until the dust settles a little bit. Wait until we see what this announcement actually is. Wait till we actually have confirmation of a much larger breakout, because I would rather buy high knowing that we're going higher than buy low not knowing if the floor is going to drop out below us. And with how high Bitcoin is right now and where we're at against resistance, followed by how high Bitcoin dominance is trading currently, I would be a little bit concerned about the altcoin market. But when it comes back to XRP, I know that there's been a lot of buying happening around whales. We actually have over here, I forgot to share this with you guys during the beginning of this video, but we have over the past month, whales have amassed 900 million XRP, valued at roughly 1.8 billion. And that's over the past month. So if we're actually looking at the 1 month here, this is what the 1 month looks like. We've been for the most part, we've been locked in just in the sideways price action. And it's something that I've been watching on XRP as we just kind of consolidate here after having that big run up. And this is the problem, right? A lot of people actually don't understand that this is healthy price action. Having that long rolling sideways price action like this, even if it is in a downtrend, is actually very healthy after having such a large expansion to the upside. I mean, you got to remember that this was over, 591% of a move to the upside, and it happened in roughly 74 days. So for us to kind of consolidate here, and we've been consolidating for roughly about 112 days, that's actually very healthy price action. And the same could even be said about Bitcoin, because, if we actually look at Bitcoin right now, we're actually getting a little bit of an expansion to the upside, which is very good to see. So far, we have been consolidating on Bitcoin for roughly about 108 days. If we're actually looking at this price move back here, now ultimately, we were actually already trading in a nice uptrend, but the major impulse here, and we'll go actually to the high, about 77 days, the total price move on Bitcoin here was about roughly 64%. So the fact that we're kind of consolidating now, we're starting to push to the upside, we're starting to create a nice trend here. It's very good to see. Now, one thing that I will confirm in this video is that, the structure on Bitcoin is very bullish. We have these nice lows down here. We also have, higher lows up here as well. So, overall structure on Bitcoin, still pretty bullish. I'm not too concerned at all. I do think that a lot of the trade discussions in these announcements are, they're just catalysts. They're just, I don't want to say that they're a huge catalyst, because they're not like massive, but they are definitely, something that could affect the markets in a big way, as you guys can clearly see on Bitcoin, just from this announcement from Trump that, we have a big conference happening today where we will announce a major trade deal. So very good to see. It also shows us that the tariff discussions and the trade war itself is starting to cool off, which is also, very beneficial for markets to really kind of have a little bit of breathing room to the upside. So with that being said, guys, if you guys did enjoy this video, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.